Now, Ada, let me now tell you a story. Let
Okay.
me. There was a gentleman around where we were staying who had a wife, just like this lady who called, and the wife never cheated. She was faithful, but he wasn't faithful. He was hopping from place to place. Do you get?
Wow. Yeah.
Now, they finally sent the woman to what is it called? To a white garment church. The white garment pastor now bewitched the woman and started sleeping with her.
Ah.
At the end of the day, the woman, the man, and the white garment pastor all died of AIDS.
Whoa.
The man gave it to the woman. But because the man had it, he started showing symptoms first. So
Yeah.
the poor woman that was being blamed for sleeping around actually had nothing to do with sleeping around. But she still eventually died from the stupidity and still shared it because she then started sleeping around. But guess who? She started sleeping around with the person that was trying to help them find a cure. Woman had two children for the white garment
So
pastor.
sad.
It was when she was giving birth to the second child that her eyes cleared and she realized
She
that she
had
had been
two
bewitched.
children for him.
Yes.
Oh no. Was she still in a marriage?
The husband had died. Or the husband
Okay.
died after
Oh.
she eventually moved out, moved into the house of the Baba. Then she and the Baba now eventually died. Okay, a lot of people don't know what the story is. The story is quite simple. A man was sick and they couldn't understand what his sickness was. So they started suspecting his wife. You know that tradition that time his wife must be sleeping around, and that's why the man is sick. So
Hmm.
they started checking here, checking there, checking everywhere. At the end of the day, they now started taking the woman from one spiritual home to the other, one babalao to the other, eventually ended in a white garment church. Then the white garment pastor they took the woman to bewitched this woman. So the white garment pastor now started sleeping with this woman. At the end of the day, they now found out that what was wrong with the man was actually AIDS. And by that time, it was too late. He had given his wife, and the wife had given Babalawo.
Wow.
And the wife and Babalawo, the wife and white garment church pastor eventually also died from HIV/AIDS, or be from AIDS, yes. So I feel this woman's pain. The last lady that called, I feel her pain, and it is unfair. Uh, the more you look at today's world, the wisdom of our parents and their parents does not entirely apply in this world. This world is different. Things operate in a different manner. That's my opinion, Sha. I know people would argue and want to say otherwise, but let's just take their phone calls.
Okay. 0700 993 993 993. Hello. Yeah. Good evening. What's your name? Okay.
One thing I know, whether right guy, whether marriage, whether this time or their time before this time, or the time to come, there's one thing I know. The people that obeys rules of marriage, the people that humble to one another, that seek for the peace of one another, marriage will always last. No woman,
Hmm.
no will, no human of this life will change it. People that abide by the rules of God, but people that are so wise, that are following the world, where the world is going, they can never have a lasting marriage. And you know when their eyes normally clear, when you're getting to certain age in life, then you start feeling loneliness. And then you now feel, I need somebody, but by then, it's too late. The fact is that when they're married or no married, they come up. At the time in your life, this loneliness, I need somebody by your side. Sex is not marriage. Sex has nothing to do with marriage. But that joy, that peace of seeing somebody that loves you, that unity that between you and that person, that's what keeps you going. Not this world. Whatever, the world is changing. And we in this world, we're getting wiser and wiser. Whereas we are going to our doom. Nothing is good about this world, and nothing is good about the last world. And yesterday, God was talking about we practice this in our religion, and if we practice it at home. So this is allow we get their turning back to now, seeing their injustice. Come, people should think they are being hypocritical. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, now, Ada, let me comment on what he said. That you get to a stage in your life and you now realize you are lonely. I was in a relationship once. Do you know that that's why I broke off the relationship? I was miserable in that relationship. You know what it is like to be miserable? I was miserable, as in I was sad, I was unhappy. We're making each other happy. We had gotten to a point where hatred was even good. Then somebody now preached that you guys should thank God that you have each other, so that you not grow old and be lonely. Do you know, to me, that was the last straw. I just thought about it. I said, this is what I'll grow up to meet. This person that I can't stand now that I'm young, should I not rather be alone? And do you know, when that relationship happened, I was alone for about 6-7 months. It was one of the best times of my life. That loneliness that they are talking about is another myth. If you have a good marriage and you ruin it, you'll be lonely. If you have a bad marriage and it ends, you are better off in your old age to be alone than to be with somebody that is going to torment you. As in, I literally would come home. I was staying alone with my maid that period. I used to come home to an empty house with a maid and I'll be happy. I experienced what the word peace meant for the first time. Do you understand? I was in, and I thought about it. I'm like, it's actually good we took this decision now, because we're the only thing. What's the loneliness? Okay, so you and person will not live inside the same house. That's loneliness. Loneliness to me. Do you know you can be in a relationship and be lonely? Do you know you can be in a place filled with people and still be lonely? And then you can be alone and not be lonely. So I believe it is also a myth. You better, so that at one stage in your life you will not be lonely. If you've been through a bad marriage before, you will rather be alone in old age, and you will not be lonely. I was lucky. I was able to move on. And, someone that worked out with me and all that. But if I were to choose going back or being lonely, loneliness is 10 times better. Loneliness that will come home and there is peace. I experienced peace, tranquility. You know what tranquility is? Tranquility. So let's also stop here. You be old and you be lonely. These days, people don't get old and work your career in such a way that you're not going to be lonely. Invest in yourself, invest in your business. Do you understand? Invest in your career, and you work by yourself. My mom is in her 60s and she's still working actively. My mother does not have time to be lonely. My mother that you will call, she'll tell you, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. You call her again 3 hours later, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. I mean, then eventually she'll call you at 1 a.m. That's the person that wants to be lonely. Where is the time to be lonely? When you are running a university, where is the time to be lonely? You can't be lonely. Low. It's when you don't have what you are doing and then you are old and then you are retired and then you now be lonely. Or you had a good marriage and you ruined it, or you had a good marriage and then your spouse died. But when your whole life is running, stress, you can't be lonely. You actually feel good. You like, wow. Or what do you think?
That's so true.
They will not agree with us.
This is just feel
You know, there are many discussions. There are many discussions. Some people are saying bride price is worth it. Yes, yes. As far as I'm concerned, from my personal experience, do you understand? It's like if you talk about bleaching. Let me give you an example. We used to have a friend growing up in the university who was always drunk. Always drunk, as in 9 a.m. in the morning, don't drink.
wow.
As in, not drink that he has had a bottle, as in he's vomiting. 9 a.m. in the morning. So we're now praying for him, we're seizing his wallet, we're doing everything so he will stop drinking. Do you understand? And because he now didn't have money to drink, do you get?
Yeah.
We're now lucky that the thing was now affecting him. So we're only giving him money to drink in the evening out of his own money. Now, guess what? He was now supposed to travel to Lagos from Ibadan with some guys. He now showed up. I don't know where he saw alcohol that morning. He drank and got drunk and showed up and started vomiting. That's how they said, lie, that they are not going to carry this guy with them inside car, make it come they vomit for their body. That's how they went to Lagos, had an accident on the way, and all died. Or all died except the driver. I've forgotten how it went. It can't remain how I want to tell this guy, say, make it stop to drink. Because he was now convinced that drinking saved him. Because if he hadn't been drunk that morning, he would have been in the car with them. Then we that were saving him from the alcohol now look like his enemies. That you are the ones that, what if I had not seen that bottle of Squadron inside that person's what is it called? That's how I'll have died with these people. Oh. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So funny things appeal to different people in funny ways. And you, a person, sometimes have to make choices over your own life. If I personally, from my experience, I will never allow any man to pay bride price, even if it's 50 kobo for any of my children. Anything that wants to happen, you know I'm stubborn. Ada, if there's anything you know about me, you know I'm stubborn. Children that will to court and go and tie. If you don't want to marry, don't marry. It's not fight. Look at the story you just gave me. Imagine you were the one. The man doesn't love you. He's divorcing you. And then he wants to go and remarry, but he's not going to allow you to remarry because he's holding on to your bride price. Why do you fund that kind of ideology? I'm asking you, why would you fund that kind of ideology.
Really sad.
Think about it. Because you accepting it is you accepting a clause that can actually endanger your own life and endanger your happiness in the future. Ada, if I were the one that came to tell you and say, oh, Adobe, this was happening to me, you might, it's happening to you. You can see it. And then you are still supporting this bride price.
That if it's the culture, though I said, I know
Now, hold on. Why are you supporting it just because of cultural value? When it's like, it's a culture that every morning you must drink poison. It is our culture. Think about it.
it's not that deep.
It is. I know women separate. You see, when you run a church and you have to start raising money, let me give you, we raise money for women to run before from their marriages. When the husband don't give them disease, first time, second time, third time, beat him, nearly come out one eye, and the woman runs up to you as her spiritual leader, what are you supposed to do? And then you are able to finally relocate the woman away from a dangerous place, and then the man just shows up one day and takes his children. Guess what? The house you rented, everything you did, the woman is abandoning it and following the man because she cannot leave her children. And then the beating continues. It's actually deep. You see, there are benign cultures that are just fun cultures, like kissing under the mistletoe. It's benign, wearing a white dress. It's pagan, but it's benign. Do you understand? You're not going to die because you wore a white dress. But there's so many demerits, and I have seen them. So personally, I don't care if you, for instance, decide to support that. No, I don't support it. I don't support it, and I'm not going to support it for my kids. And I'm going to advocate against it until I can see that there's some sanity that's been brought to it. Let me give you an example. One of my aunties, she married and a man from another tribe and then died. Their children were told to come and carry their mother's dead body because they could not bury her in their village because there was a certain rite they were supposed to do that they had not done. Oh no, the children wanted to bury the one somewhere else. And Henry, I twisted the story. Like, for instance, two people got married and they moved somewhere, and then the woman died. She died in like her 80s or 70s. Then the children wanted to bury her in their father's hometown along with their father because they had a mansion there. The mother's people just showed up one day and said, no, you cannot bury her because you've not done this right, you've not done this right, you've not done this right. Luckily for them, it was those days of the army. The first son was a general or a colonel. That's how they rounded all the villagers up and locked them inside guard room for like 3 weeks. That Abacha time when when soldier get out. They finished the funerals. Those ones were still crying inside guard room. It was with beg. But guess what? What if the man was not in the military? That's how they'll have come to carry his mother's body and gone to bury her in enchanted forest. Because they say if you don't complete those rites, they cannot even bury you in the city. They will bury you inside the bush. The guy said his mother. Who are the people that want to bury her in the bush? These people. Don't worry, it is you people they will bury. Think about all these things. So if we can reduce our culture to fun, loving, happy symbols of our existence as black people, I'm 100% for it. But if it's manipulating women, slowing down the growth of women, it's a no-no for me. Final. No matter what any book says, any constitution says, as long as it is, because I have daughters. My sons are going to be fine. Men are usually fine. But it's the women. I know women that for 10 years, they are fighting to stay alive because they entered bad marriage. And they can't move on with their lives. Let me tell you a story, just so you understand. One woman married to someone from one of these funny cultures. And according to their tradition, whatever the woman makes while she's with the man belongs to the man. Like, for instance, I marry you. As I marry you now, you now entered Big Brother. You now won, how much is their prize money?
85.
85 million naira. Now say, you know what? You are breaking up with me. You have to give me that 85 million.
Oh.
No, you didn't know. There are some. The man fought her for everything she owned, claiming that she bought it while she was married to him, so it belongs to him. I'm talking of 10 years of back and forth court drama. So we need to be very careful with some of these things that we are endorsing simply because it's culture, or because it sounds good, or because it reminds us of who we are. There's a certain price I don't want to pay to be reminded that I'm African. I love Africa. I've lived all my life in Africa, but my happiness, I gamble my happiness. You know. So let's take phone calls, my darling sister.
993.
Mr. George Okorie, this is your comment and your comment. If you don't like this my channel, please just unsubscribe. I don't need you. I'm telling you every single thing I'm saying. You are picking up something to fight. Bruv, I don't ask you to come here. No be your kind. Kind of defined.
What's your name? Okay.
No be your kind of defined though. You've been asking silly questions all day. Can you please keep it or leave? Thank you.
Okay, why?
Yeah, in my place, without emotional marriage, well, anything I want to do is not going to affect your wife. Or, yeah, that is where I came from.
What do you mean by anything she does is not going to affect her?
Okay, like all those
Wow. Hello? Yeah, good evening. Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Yeah, calling from.
Okay. We can hear you.
I'm running a program, though.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
I'm running a program, but I just want you to help me at the best of it. Now, it's so arrogant.
Okay.
Da.
Hello? Yes, Daddy Freeze.
You know, I just like
after the
human
call. Yeah,
beings.
good evening.
Okay, after the call.
Yeah. Hello, what's your name? Oluwafemi. Okay. Please go ahead.
Someone said, is paying of bride price scriptural? It is scriptural for the Testament. Isaac, Jacob, it is. But my problem is it has a lot of disadvantages. That's just my issue with it.
All right. Thank you.
Now, simply because I have refused to accept bride price, at least not in the African context. I've seen too much. I'm now arrogant. And now, let me ask you, am I arrogant? Be honest. You judge the matter.
No, I'm going to be honest. No.
So why are they labeling me as arrogant? Listen, I can be temperamental. If you say that the freeze has bad temper, I know I have bad temper. Do you understand? I know I can have a funny temper, but arrogant. You see, sometimes in life when you don't take nonsense, they'll label you as arrogant. It's my children now. It's my children. If I don't go collect bride price, I don't go collect. Let's take George Okorie, one more comment from you. I'm taking you off. One more comment from you. I've tolerated you long enough.
Hello? Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I'm enjoying your program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
I want to correct. I'm hearing that people talking about a bride price. For my side, I've got a bride price very good, good in control. Very, very good. Because our side, we don't say we pay 15 naira for bride price. But that's the real thing that we do. Forget about the white wedding or anything. The real thing to do that is the bride, but that's the real thing to do in my place. If I want to do anything apart from that, then it is between you and your wife. But that bride price is very, very good thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what I'm understanding. Okay.
He did make a bit of sense, though.
Yeah. Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Solomon. I'm calling from.
Okay.
Okay, so my contribution to the show is we need to understand that people define their patterns of behavior. And with that, you can actually identify it from a particular culture or country. So it is obvious that from this when they are taking advantage or manipulating the essence of bride price, but does not make it useless. That is just the fact. Now you are putting on a shirt which for your way. Somebody can say, oh, you are looking, you are dressed like, Olympics. When you see a Yoruba man dressed, you know that this is a Yoruba man. But when you see a Tiv man, an Hausa man, you can identify this already on that behavior of people. So there is no that nobody can live in isolation in any community or society. So you cannot say that what they practice, that pattern, that has already been established, you don't see any meaningful thing about it. No, I think it is wrong. I study sociology and anthropology. So I want to say categorically that the essence of bride price is very, very important and it can never be overemphasized. Now, if you look back ancient days, now there are three things that makes the union socially recognized. Number one is concept of parents. Number two, you have the bride's wealth. Now that bride's wealth, what they do is there's a form of service that a man is made to do. Now this form of service, or you could say gift that a man is meant to bring to say, oh, for my heart, for my own household, because this woman is coming to live with me, we are offering you this. Now, the payment is what has been manipulated in this. That's why you see extended family trying to sell their daughters and all that. We know it is wrong. It is wrong. But saying And sometimes there are some issues that when we are talking about them, we are kind of selling these ideas to people. And if you're not careful, that's what I do is that. So I'm not going to say that faith is wrong or going to say something not right. But I just want him to know that for the fact that you don't believe in it and you say you won't practice it, it is something you should teach yourself, not something you should air out. And, you know.
But that's his opinion.
Oh boy, I like this world though.
People taking this thing to their own interest. So that is my point.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, let me address this. First of all, I also studied sociology and anthropology. I have a BSc in sociology. I spent 4 years of my life as well studying sociology. And if there's anything I also can tell you is I weigh the advantages and the disadvantages. That's to me. There's not, you come and meet me, it's like a business project. Ada, Daddy Freeze, give me 100,000 naira. What do you want to do with the 100,000 naira? I want to buy eggs, hatch chickens, and 1 month from now, I'll be able to make 20,000 naira and I'll give you double your money, right? Okay, what are the disadvantages? I measure them against advantages. If the advantages supersede the disadvantages, I'm all for it. However, in a situation where you're finding it hard to point out the advantages, and I am saying personally, for me, Daddy Freeze, I no go collect bride price for my children. You cannot tell me not to air that opinion. Is it your children? That's the question. At the end of the day, for my children, I'm not going to collect bride price because personally, I don't believe in it. I've not seen the advantage. And why should I do something that has no advantages to especially the daughters? If my son wants to marry from a woman and pay her bride price, all well and good. He's a man. It suits men. It doesn't suit women. And let me tell you, yeah, if we continue like this, many women are not going to marry in Nigeria. They'll just carry you abroad and you marry them there. And then try any nonsense, they'll collect the house from you. I know guys going through divorces. One of my guys, he carried his wife from Nigeria to, woman had never entered aeroplane before, let alone travel abroad. The wife is dragging house now. He's paying rent for her and the children, and he's squatting with one of his aunties. Because abroad, if you and your wife fight and neighbors call police, who do you think are going to walk out of this? Meanwhile, a Nigerian man will stand outside the door and shout, "Leave my house! Get out! Go back to your father's house." And you know the saddest thing, Ada? We've failed to build our nation. So men are shouting, "Go back to your father's house," in a nation where they are running away from, to nations where women are respected. It doesn't make any sense to me. So if this is my opinion, I'm sure there are people who are going to buy into logic. I'm not going to do this because this is the reason. You don't need anything. You are saying you need parental consent, you need this, you need this. What happens to going, all those people are abroad? How many of them collected parental consent? How many people abroad living in places like the US or the UK? You've not seen an American wedding before. There will be 5 people there and none of the parents. You just the guy and his wife and his friends. They just go in there and they get married now. And guess what? They don't even have a celebration because everybody pays for their own. They go to a restaurant. I've attended like 3 or 4. The first one, I went to go and eat steak. Luckily for me, I had money in my pocket. The second one, I didn't have money, I just ordered a burger. So I was at a wedding eating a burger. Oh yeah, ask American people now. Maybe they are here. Yes, they with parental consent. In what age? When we are reading our sociology and anthropology, let's also remember that there is a new world that some people are going to write about, and it's this one we are living. So guys will always fight for bride price. I want the women to call. All of you that they paid bribe, especially women who have suffered in the hands of men, call us and tell us your opinion.
Okay, let's squeeze in some messages. Hello, Ada and Daddy, please. Bride price is necessary, and it is not the issue. The issue is the way people go about it. And as for the earlier caller that wants us to discuss Nigerian problems, please, we have been discussing those problems. What improvement has it brought to our country? After all, 80% of the programs of radio stations are all about the same problems. So, shouldn't we have a discussion over other things that matter to us, like the topic at hand? Femi from Agbara.
And guess what? Bride price is actually a Nigerian topic. So you see, people are so hard to please. As in, it's almost impossible to please human beings. We've said, okay, we are doing away with religion because of the sentiment it brings. And we're talking about topical issues. Why? Because you want me to talk about NURTW. You want me to talk about petroleum strikers, petroleum tankers that refused to strike or struck or said they were going to strike. I'm not going to always talk about Nigerian problems. We address Nigerian problems. But sometimes we also want to talk about other things that also matter. And this, as far as I'm concerned, is an issue that Nigerians are dealing with. So do we? Yes, a lot of good arguments. I've had a lot of good arguments supporting bride price. I've also had a lot of good arguments going against bride price. Like my argument against bride price, for instance. You won't tell me it's not a good argument. Abi Adobe. All right, we continue.
Good evening, Ada and Daddy Priest. Please never mind that man saying you're being arrogant. Please keep on with your arrogance, okay? We always fail to hear the truth in this country, and that is why we're being backward in the nation. Yemi Larings from Ikorodu. And we have someone saying, okay, Adobe, when people listen to Daddy Freeze, they don't have to do everything he says. I love Daddy Freeze. Mui Olarewaju in New York. Okay.
Thank you, Mui. We love you.
Whether you like it or not, scripture and culture supports bride price. However, nobody should ever remain in any bondage of bad marriage. Happiness is key in everything. Hello, Daddy Breeze. Please, when are you going to teach on Trinity? I need more clarification.
You won't make the carry cane. They chase me up and down Lagos. No, Ada, don't worry. You one-on-one, I'll show you some stuff about Trinity. But I'm not going to discuss. I'm going to say, Pim. Maybe I'll call you tomorrow during the day. I said tomorrow I'll call you during the day and we'll have that discussion.
Okay. Cool. All right. Good evening, sir. I think that it is the most controversial human being ever. Innocent CE.
I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I shall take it as a compliment, sir, before they say I'm proud in.
Tom from Sulere, that if we can't criticism from people. Okay, well, wants people to accept his views. He has so far spoken about Christianity and religion, attacking pastors as tie thieves or businessmen, and attacking King James for 1 hour weekly, and interrupting with different views, but has never spoken about Islamic religion, terrorism, and Sharia happening today. He always dodge the issues. You should stop insulting people through the radio. Okay, took a lot to compile that together. Oh, all right.
So you want to talk, say the English, yapam.
The guy who called to say the advantages of paying bride price can never be overemphasized could not even mention one.
Yes.
To become less sentimental about culture and learn to allow that culture evolve positively or let it go.
You know, um, we said we will not talk about religion. I didn't know the ones bringing. Do you see how I dodged the? I've dodged 2 religious topics today. Abiada. One, you were the one that even dodged it. The Daniel one. And then I'm dodging the second one. People are very hard to please. That's one thing you're going to learn. Especially if they want to bait you. I can only imagine what Christ went through. It was always, and the Pharisees came to tempt him. I never used to understand, say, tempt him, how? Christ noticed that he was trying, Luke chapter 10, verse 25. He asked him, how do we make, how do we get saved? And Christ, knowing he wanted to tempt him, asked him a question. I said, how do you? After living my life for the last 3 years, I now understand it when they say people came to tempt Christ. Una can tempt person. Every day we'll say we don't want to do this, we don't want to do this. We'll come back there, you drag us into it. Then once you drag us into it, you are happy because then you can now start rejoicing. And start defending what you want to defend in a way you want to defend it. Let's go.
Okay, Ada, good evening. My marriage was very, very bad. I had to run away from it. And after giving birth, I had to leave. I was married for 8 years. I never had peace with my husband. And my husband had HIV, which I didn't know of. It was when I wanted to give birth that I got to discover that I had HIV. I am now living on a low, and it's been 15 years now. I am just okay with my daughter, and I'm always busy. Thank you. Helen from Biju.
Can you see that there have been divergent opinions from both genders with regards to bride price and marriage? While the men are pumping, yes, our tribe. The women are calling and saying, they collected HIV. They had horrible marriages. Their mother was made to swear. Just look at it. Have you bothered as human beings to ask your women what they really want? And I want to use this as an opportunity to ask the women, what do you really want? Be honest with yourselves as a woman. Forget tradition, forget scripture, forget law. As a woman, what do you want? Men should stop speaking on behalf of women. Stop telling them what clothes you like on them. Stop telling them what careers you want them to do or what career paths you want them to follow. Let the women actually talk. Any man that calls again will cut your call. We have 10 minutes left. I'll be 5 minutes left. Let's take only women. What do you want? Let's hand it over to the women. Especially if you've been battered. Especially if you've been beaten. You are the one wearing the shoe. We are saying bride price is good, bride price is good, bride price is good because we are the ones paying it. Are they paying it for us? So let's ask the women, what do you want?
Okay, and you've heard from that. If I pick your call, you are a man. Sorry, I'll cut you off. Hello?
Hello, you know?
Hello? And we want a lady. Hello? Hello? Ladies, please. 993. Ladies, Polly, let's talk. Good evening, Ada. To me, everybody should just practice what they believe. Thank you. Do we have a lady here? Hello?
Let the women call. They will not hear word.
Yeah, good evening. Okay, Francisca.
Hello, Francisca. Go ahead.
This is a lady. Hello? Oh, no. Hello, good evening. Simple instruction. Wow.
And Daddy Free is the one that is proud and arrogant.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, can we hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
we can.
Good evening, Pastor.
Okay, go ahead. Feel free.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, my darling sister. Go ahead.
You can hear you. Go on.
Let her just speak louder, but I can hear her.
For my mother,
Please be audible.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Clearly.
Said I'm not for my mother, and I think I can speak for her when I tell you that she has really suffered with marriage. Apart from the whole grind issue. Okay, my mother's parents never took bride price from my father,
Okay.
but he was really been. It's been horrible to her. I don't want. The bride price issue is really bad. It should definitely should be, thrown into the thing because it has, people are. And apart from that bride price, you not take bride price from her. And you want a good person. And good night.
Wow.
The poor lady is traumatized. Can you see?
Yeah.
Men will be calling now, be running their mouth. Can you see? Can you now see? I told you I counseled 80 women last year. 80. If I were to write a project on that, my views on marriage changed. That after counseling those women, my entire views and understanding of marriage changed. Can we get another woman and then call it a day if possible? We are talking about women, at least let them be there.
No, actually, I don't think so. Maybe we can bring it again tomorrow. Maybe for like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Okay, my darling then. All right, guys, so join us again tomorrow. The debate is hot. Bride price, yes or no. The women are saying no. The men, on behalf of the women, are telling us how useful brazier is. Men are telling us how good a bra is that they don't wear. The people wearing the bra say, this thing is paining me on my chest. The men are saying, no, our culture, our tradition, our scripture says we must wear it. Women wear it. And then they will say that the freeze is arrogant. Women, can you see why people need me? You people better vote for me. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Love you all. Catch you tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much, Daddy Prince. It's been an awesome show. I really had fun, and yeah.
Before you go, let me ask you one question. What did you do? What's one deduction you made?
Wow, to accept the bitter truth that this thing is our culture, but then again, is it in our favor?
Thank you. A woman has spoken. For women, Ada, listen to me. Speak for women. Women need to be spoken for. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Alright.
Wonderful show. It was a bit heated, but that's how we said we're going to have live and dangerous. So it's been live and it's been dangerous. Today we're talking about bride price and other traditions. So I'm trying to see if I can hook up with Nneka Spliff. Nneka was was diagnosed COVID positive the other day, and she's doing, yeah, she's here. It's just that all I can see is wall.
That
Nneka,
prince.
Nneka, have
Okay.
you turned to wall?
No, no, I'm coming.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just had to. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
here.
How are you feeling?
Okay. Hi, Daddy Freeze. I love the topic today. I need to say that, like,
Okay.
you're doing a very good work.
Thank you very much. Real quick, how is the COVID? You're better?
Yeah, so today is my last day being at home. I feel better, but for the past few days, I had a lot of dizziness, but I think I'm fine today. I'm gonna say hi. Say hi, Daddy Freeze.
Hey, so cute.
Yeah. Hello?
Okay. Be careful though. Monitor your blood
Yeah,
pressure and your heart rate.
I'm doing that.
Okay, please. Now, real quick, what's your take on bride price?
So, if only I knew what I know today, I would have spent time investing in myself rather than thinking about marriage and all the Nigerian traditions. I don't think bride price should be a must. In fact, I'm almost 100% sure that my father would not insist on any sort of bride price. And yes, I agree with you 100%. Some of those things, it shouldn't be like, it shouldn't be a must. Let people do what they feel comfortable doing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and God bless us all. I look forward to joining you again, same time tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and all my love. Take care,
All right,
Neka.
thank you, Daddy Freeze. Bye.
Bye.